Let me say welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the afternoon here and spending some time with us from GRCC. We really appreciate that. This is a special week for us as a college. I was telling a friend of mine earlier today that, you know, as colleges and universities, we do this kind of goofy regalia stuff and recognizing a new president. And you know, that's not done for businesses so much, or even on the secondary schools. But we get all dressed up at the Investiture that's coming up this Friday, and it's a big event. And we certainly thank you for being a part of it. This is our kickoff inauguration event today, right here on the Lakeshore, and we're so thankful to be able to kick that off, and that you're a part of that as well. Let me just do a few introductions. My name is Dan Clark. I'm Dean of Academic Outreach for the college, and it's my privilege to MC this afternoon's event. So I want to start off in terms of, I know I saw some of our Board of Trustees, and I'm not going to mention you individually, but if you would, just please stand. We'll recognize some of our board that were able to make it out this afternoon. Thank you. I know I saw some of our local elected officials as well. I know I saw Daniela earlier, but please, if you're here and you're serving as one of our elected officials, there's Danielle. Would you please stand, Nancy, please stand and be recognized as well? Thank you. Now, if you're here as a GRCC Lakeshore staff, I'm going to ask if you would stand. I think if I know there's some of you here. Some are still kind of working the halls and that kind of thing. So now some of our faculty stood at that time too. So thank you for being here as well. We're glad that you were able to take opportunity to do that. If you're from our main campus, GRCC main campus, I'm going to ask if you would stand. Would you please? And thank you so much for coming out this afternoon as well. And community members, it's so good to have you be a part of this, and I want to especially recognize all of you as our community members, whether you're in the educational world or business world. I'm going to ask if you would stand, please. On the back of the program, we did include some information that we thought it would be interesting for all of us to note. And this is data that we have put together. And I thank our institutional research and planning team for putting that together. So as you have opportunity, the map is kind of an interesting density map in terms of enrollments for fall of 2016. And then there's some other data in there. I think one of the things that I note, that 1 in 5 students that graduate from high school within the Ottawa Area Intermediate School District come to Grand Rapids Community College. I think that's a significant data point there. And there's some other things as far as data points for you to take a look at. But I think it's so important that individuals here along the Lakeshore are finding an opportunity to get their education with Grand Rapids Community College. I am often asked as well, so what is the enrollment at GRCC Lakeshore campus? And I'm glad to say that we came in at 929 students for fall of 2017. So that's a good number of students that are participating this fall with us. And we actually were an increase from fall of 2016. So we're excited about that increase and more students that are participating in doing that. So we do have a short video that we'll start off with, and I'm going to ask our media team if they'll cue that up, and we'll take a look at that.
When you think of the Lakeshore, you might think it's a place that's distinctly separate from Grand Rapids. But when you look at the stats, what you'll see is a region that's clearly connected to Grand Rapids Community College. Not only do we have multiple locations serving students on the Lakeshore, you know, the Thompson MTech, the Midtown Center, West Ottawa High School, the Career Line Tech Center, and even the GVSU Meyer campus. Not only that, but we've even partnered with Herman Miller to help high school students earn a certificate while they're still in high school. In fact, it's pretty hard to not see GRCC when you're in Ottawa County, since 15% of all of our students come from the Ottawa Intermediate School District. In less than 7 years, we've awarded over 1,800 certificates and degrees to students in this region. On top of that, if you're graduating from a local high school, you and 1/5 of your classmates will choose to go to GRCC, and that's a number that keeps growing. In the past year, 42 different companies in Ottawa County have been served by our customized training. Over $22 million in Michigan New Jobs training funds have gone to Lakeshore companies, and more than 100 apprentices in Holland are actively pursuing coursework at the GRCC Lakeshore campus for their journeyman credentials. So as you can see, Lakeshore communities are a bigger part of GRCC every year. And the reason is simple. The GRCC experience on the Lakeshore is a complete college experience.
The Lakeshore campus is an extension of GRCC. We have full staff here to serve students. We like to be an extension of main campus. So we see ourselves as a self-serving unit within the college, but just our location is different.
It's been positive. There's a lot of openings class-wise, so you don't have to drive all the way to Grand Rapids to attend class, so it's pretty nice having classes here in Holland. And since there's also always staff here, I can always ask them a question when I come to class, or even whatever comes up to mind when I'm in class, I can just go up to them and then ask them instead of going all the way to Grand Rapids.
Classes would transfer, the credit would transfer. So I'm able to continue taking some classes here, and then the credit will transfer, so best of both worlds.
I've always been intrigued by hands-on, like electrical stuff like that, and ultimately I want to go for electrical controls, which is programming machines with computers. I was looking for a college to go to, and GRCC was pretty local. Comparatively, it comes at a very low cost. Something local like this is definitely a benefit.
If we weren't here, there would be a gap. There would be a gap between higher education, community college, that bridge to possibly a four-year degree for many of our students. We have working students, working adult students, we have first-generation students, we have returning students, we have transfer students, and they come needing different things, but we're here to offer all those things, which is great.
It's welcome to anybody, and then it's closed here in Holland, and then a lot of people don't even know what they're studying for, so they come over here and see if they can find something that they like.
This is my third attempt of going back to school. I was able to complete my associate degree here, and I appreciate the flexibility, the hours. For a non-traditional student, that was a huge benefit for me.
Depending on what class it is, normally all of them are like max 20, 24 students. The teachers are really nice, so it's been pretty positive. I like the classes here, taking them.
You know, they get excited about learning, about being in the classroom, and so that's what it's all about, is connecting those passions that they bring to the table to higher education, to learning and growing, and for their future, and for our community's future too.
I appreciate that GRCC is able to, here in Holland, give me as well as others the opportunity for a good education at a lower cost, which really helps me out.
That's GRCC on the Lakeshore, here to help students like Landon and Rose and Jacqueline, and thousands more. Because just like you, we're a part of this community.
It's my opportunity now to introduce to you, we thought it would be good to see a live student that actually graduated from the Lakeshore campus in terms of finishing her her program. And we asked Susie Navarez if she would come forward and just give a little bit of her history with us. Here she is. And come up and share with us. Susie, I met back in fall of 2011, actually. And we got her started. Let me see if I can get this started. Okay. And she's going to tell kind of her story from there. So,
Good afternoon. My name is Azucena Rubina Vares, but most of you guys know me as Susie. I was asked to share my personal story. I am honored, but yet nervous. So a little bit about me. I am the oldest of 6. I am a first-generation college student, and I learned English when I was about 10. So I struggled through school while growing up. I was able to graduate from West Ottawa in 2011 and decided to come to GRCC right away. Why GRCC? Because it's closer to home, it's affordable, smaller classes, and I got a lot of support from the Lakeshore staff. I was here all the time. I felt like they memorized my student ID number. While I was here, I got offered the opportunity to be a student employee. Working here opened up my eyes, and I realized my passion for higher education. Like I mentioned before, I did struggle with my academics, so I was here for 3 years. Because I took a lot of the AFP classes, I needed a lot of extra tutoring and support, which I did get. I was able to graduate with my associates in 2014 and transferred to Western Michigan University. During this transition, it was hard, leaving home, being on my own for the first time, and having to be successful somewhere else, bigger school. It wasn't diverse as GRCC either. Here, I felt that I belonged. I knew I wasn't another statistic. Like, oh, there's another Mexican. Like, I wonder if she's gonna graduate. Not here. I knew I was gonna graduate, and so did they. I know Lily Anderson, Dan Clark, Dan Nyhoff, Danielle, Miguel. They knew my expectations, and they've always had high expectations of me. When I transferred to Western, Miguel helped me get a student employment job over there as well. And when I was gone, I thought they were gonna forget about me, so I got kind of sad, but they didn't. Dan Nyhoff would always send me emails and follow up with me to make sure I was still being successful and I was on the right path. I graduated last year in 2016 and with my bachelor's in social work, and I came running back to GRCC, and I asked Dave, please hire me. I was able to get a job as a success coach in November, and now I feel like I can do what I love and return the favor. They've always been there for me, and they've been my family. Of course, being a first-generation college student, there's only so much my parents can do because they don't know. They don't know how to apply. They don't know what financial aid. They don't know what's 12 credits or 6 credits, part-time, full-time, but my family here does, and they were able to help me and pave the way. So thank you for that, and I am so happy I did the right choice of coming to GRCC.
thank you very much, Susie. It's now my privilege to be able to introduce to you Dr. Bill Pink. Bill has been in education for 25 some years altogether and came to our college 2 years ago as our VP and Dean of Workforce Development, and recently in May has actively been serving as our president, and we're excited to have him as our 10th president of our college. Bill, please.
All right. Good afternoon. All right, have to, wait a minute. Good afternoon. Ooh, had me scared there for a second. So I need a favor. I need you to, and whether you say yes or not, I'm probably going to do it anyway. on a day like this, I like to take my jacket off, okay? And probably I would say that even if it was really nice and cool outside, I'd probably still take it off. Several of you probably knew that was going to happen. But I want to first of all say, Susie, you are awesome. Please give her another hand, ladies and gentlemen. The thing about it is that, Susie, what you do is that you are such an example of so many students who come to our doors and do exactly what you did. They finish here at GRCC, they finish at their next, and then they're ready to take on anything that this world has for them. But you also are an inspiration for those students who might not quite get there. Because we know we have some students here in our region, whether it be Ottawa County, Kent County. We know we have students who start, but for whatever reason, life gets in the way and they do not finish. You become an encouragement to those people, an inspiration to those people. I'm glad you're working for us. You have to stay here at least till I'm gone, okay? So, but we're glad that you're a part of our GRCC family because you inspire others, because you inspired these people today. I want to, again, recognize our Board of Trustees who are here. I always tell people how blessed I am to serve with the board, for the board that I do. I know many of my colleagues across the country who are serving in the capacity of presidents at different institutions that aren't as blessed to have the kind of board that I have here, so I'm grateful to them. For what they do for this institution. I'm grateful to have a board that cares about students and cares about West Michigan. I do need to introduce to you the most important person in the room. It is my wife, Lori. Would you stand, please? That's a good-looking woman. All right, so I'm thrilled that she's a part of this team. It's important to have a good team. It's important to have a good partnership. I want to thank all of you for being here today. I'm thankful to the people of Ottawa County who are our community members who I'm looking at, and many of you I know. I'm grateful that you are here today, and I'm hopeful that as we go down this journey and travel down this journey, that you will be right alongside with us. In partnership as we get into this. I see superintendents, I see I see mayors, I see executive directors of economic development. It's important to us that we have those kind of partners. Because if you notice what the title, if you will, of what I want to share with you today talks about this idea of being responsive, and it talks about the idea of being relevant. What does relevant and responsive mean? And people who are part of our campus in Grand Rapids probably, I tell them all the time, you'll get tired of hearing those two words during this presidency, because I'm a firm believer that when it comes to the mission of community colleges, it comes back to those two things. Are you relevant and are you responsive? And those two things in my mind are so important, because so you take the first one of relevant. Are you relevant? Do you stay relevant? How do you stay relevant? Well, when you talk about relevancy, I always like to use the example of Blockbuster Video. How many of you, when's the last time you saw a Blockbuster Video store? Yeah, that's what I thought. You were going relevant, but Blockbuster, I hadn't seen a Blockbuster in years. You know why? They don't exist anymore. But why do they not exist anymore? It's the idea of whether or not they were able to stay relevant. And what I always say happened to Blockbuster Video is really simple, one word: Netflix, and of the like. The idea of streaming video jumped up and bit Blockbuster, and by the time they tried to catch up, it was too late. And their idea of being relevant, because I can tell you during my lifetime, as I remember in college, my goodness, you talk about how relevant Blockbuster was? Oh my goodness. Go down to the Blockbuster, get a video, go back to the dorm, go back to the apartment. Even after high school, I think about, and college, I think about just with our family, how after we got married in early 2000s, I think about the Blockbuster that was about 2 miles away from our house, and that we would always be able to go over there, and how many arguments we would have about who didn't return the movie on time. But Blockbuster was very relevant at that time. Then, all of a sudden, this idea of streaming video comes along. And this idea of, because it was streaming on the internet, you no longer had to necessarily worry about taking it back to the video store, do you? And then all of a sudden, because Blockbuster stayed in the mode of, well, we have DVDs now, and boy, we're doing video games there too. You can rent video games, but you can actually stream that now as well. So what happened? They didn't stay relevant. And because they didn't stay relevant, they no longer exist. I also like to use the example of Kodak. Kodak, the film. So when I was growing up in elementary school and back in 1900 and none of your business, where the whole thing was to, as far as cameras were concerned, and we had the little small Instamatic. I know you, again, don't look at me like you don't remember this. You had the little camera that you open up the back and you put that little cartridge. We didn't have the 35 millimeter. That was way too expensive for us. We didn't have that camera. We had the little one that was a little box camera. You pop that in and you had 24 shots. And you better make every one of them count. Because one that was a bad one, if the sun was in the wrong spot, or if you just then you wasted a picture. You wasted one. I remember how much of an adventure it was to go and pick up pictures from the store, I'm not going to date myself that much. I'm not going to tell you the name of the store. But I remember going and picking them up at the store, and then the big mystery was going through to see which ones actually came out well, right? All right, tell your child that now, because they have a camera. And they can take as many pictures as they want to with this. What do you mean? If that one didn't come out well, Dad, I took 10 of them of that same picture. What do you mean? And they have literally hundreds, if not thousands, of pictures right here on this. So go back to Kodak. What happened with Kodak? Kodak is still around. You can go to the East Coast and you'll find Kodak. You'll find their headquarters there. But you just don't see them as relevant anymore, do you? They had to kind of settle back because what happened to Kodak? Digital photography happened. And they tried to stay relevant with it, but by the time they tried to catch up, it was too late. We are naive as a college, as academia. We are naive as GRCC if we don't believe that we can find ourselves in that same place. I think in education, we are naive if we think that if we can just go ahead and cruise and not stay relevant, not stay up with what's going on, that we will still be around. I tell schools you will have a short shelf life if you can't stay up with what is relevant. Relevance is important because without relevance, relevance says that we always will matter. Blockbuster doesn't matter anymore because they don't exist. Kodak doesn't matter quite as much anymore. Which also comes to that next one, that idea of being responsive. Because if you're going to be relevant, which means that if you're going to matter, then the idea of being responsive is just as important. Because as we exist in communities where needs are abundant, needs in terms of education, needs in terms of what the community would want to see from, in our case, a community college, we must, as a community college, stay responsive. So when we have partners that come to us, when we have partners that say, can you help us with X and Y, as the community college, if it definitely fits what our business is of education, then we say, well, of course. How do we do that? How can we help you? You look at the back of this sheet and you find out what some of that responsiveness looks like. The thing that I look at in terms of what we see there, look at how many in terms of degrees conferred. I look at things such as how we have that impact as far as the workforce community is concerned in Ottawa County. I look at how many people come through our doors and walk away with a certificate or a degree, and they walk into a 4-year school and they finish. Or they walk into a job, and a good paying job, and they're able to find out what their next is. That doesn't happen if you aren't responsive to your community. It doesn't happen. So when I think about those two things, relevant and responsive, I think about, in this case, when we start talking about the community of Holland, Zeeland, Ottawa County, I start thinking about, so for a GRCC, what does that mean for us? What does relevant and responsive look like on the Lakeshore for GRCC? Friends, what I think it means are basically two things: access and embeddedness into a community. Take the first one, access. Now, the thing about access is that it's easy to think that access just means that we are an open admission college. That's part of access. Well, sure, we are open admission. But access goes way beyond just open admission. Access means that you have pathways and avenues that help students understand that not only can I start here, but I can finish here. Access to programs, access to services. As Susie mentioned a while ago, it went beyond just what was going on in the classroom. It went beyond that. It wasn't just the classes that she took at GRCC. It was also about those people who came alongside her. Those people who she still was able to tell you their name here years later. She could still tell you who it was, what they said to me, and what really mattered to me that gave me that encouragement to say, I can get this done. That's access, friends. It's not just about the fact that I have a walk, that I can see a clear walk into an open admission campus. It's about who is on the other side of that walk to help me not only start this school, who is there to help me finish? Who is there to help me complete? Because we know in some cases, and I'll tell you this, and any of you who will be there on Friday at the investiture ceremony in Grand Rapids, you'll hear me talk about this as well. Some of our population that we see at GRCC, whether it be at the Kent, in our Kent County locations, whether it be out here on the Lakeshore, one thing we know is that some of that population that we see aren't necessarily those students who walk directly out of a high school graduation into our doors. Some of those students come because they started at another school and may not have worked as well for that first semester or year, and then they come back home and mom and dad say, you know what, I'm looking at those grades, and guess what? We're not going there next year. You're gonna have to go to the community college. You're over at CC. But when they come to us, they get some of the same thing, and I hear the same thing from them that you heard from Susie today, where they say, and I will tell you, just yesterday I was reading an email from a person who lives in our neighborhood back in Grand Rapids. She was apologizing because she wouldn't be able to make any of our investiture events, but because they're out of town. But it was interesting because she told us about her daughter, that 2 years ago when we moved here to Grand Rapids and we moved into this neighborhood, we remember 2 years ago, her daughter was getting ready, was graduating from high school, and she was gonna go to a big university down in the southern part of the country, right? She was on her way there, and you saw banners in the front yard. It was a great thing. 2 years later, we hadn't really heard how things were going for her. This email I got from mom yesterday, she said, by the way, Bill, she said, our daughter stayed there for 1 year, and for the last year, she's been at GRCC. And she's loved it because it's really helping her get back on track. It's giving her access because access goes beyond just being open admission. So access is what I'm looking for us to do even more out here in the Lakeshore. How do we make it so that more students have access to complete? Because friends, I gotta say this. When I think about my daughter, 14-year-old daughter, I'll take all the prayers, thank you. 14-year-old daughter, we are blessed and we are privileged because we can send our daughter to a university if we have to, and if we want to, and if that's where we want to. We are at a financial place like many of you sitting in here that you can send and we can send our children to, and it doesn't mean that it's easy just to put it out there. Yeah, it's gonna cost, right? But we can afford and we can figure out how to do that, can't we? If that's where they wanna go, right? It was so cool, little footnotes. Cool last night to hear my daughter talk about how, well, Dad, my first 2 years are gonna be at GRCC. I was going, yes, babe. But we have that blessing. But friends, not everyone has that, do they? Not everyone in Ottawa County, Kent County, not every one of those high school students coming out of high schools right here just miles and blocks away from where we sit today, not every one of them have the access to where financially they can reach college. All that easy. I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about how we can work in Ottawa County to make sure that we can be accessible from a price point standpoint. Whatever it takes, what are those solutions? What can we do to work together? How do we work together as a community and as partners to make sure that people have that level of access, that we can help move price off the table as being a barrier? That's about access. And then the other thing I told you about is being embedded into the community. I think that is so important. And it's important out here, to me, it's important of what we do in Ottawa County to make sure that our embeddedness in this community, that this community grows with and around GRCC. That as we do all our work out here and as we look at how we partner more to expand our offerings out here, how does this community come alongside that work? And not only come alongside it, how do you help inform that work? How do you help tell us, well, here's what we need out here? Because I never want to be so assumptive that I think I know what you need out here. No, that's a conversation that has to happen. So you tell us what you need. You say, Bill, if you can do this, and then we figure out, so how do we bring that out here? I tell people quite often, I was telling our campus the other day of the conversation I had with Dr. Haas, Tom Haas, president at GVSU, about how we talked about how do we partner closer together to make sure that we are able to bring more opportunities for associate to bachelor's opportunities into Ottawa County. It's the same conversation to have with Davenport University, who's already out here. How do you have those conversations? What do those conversations look like? I don't know right now, but those are conversations that I think need to happen so that we are doing as best we can for the community of Ottawa County as a community college. And obviously it doesn't mean that when I say Ottawa County, there are places in Ottawa County that make more sense for GRCC than others because of geography. Where we sit, this area that we sit in right now, this makes sense for us. It makes sense for us to have classes in this very building. It makes sense for us to have classes at the Thompson M Tech with a good partner with the ISD. So I'm glad Pete Haynes is here today, because that's a partnership. And that's a partnership that I think is important as we move forward in our work out here in Ottawa County with what we do with the ISD here. But that's what makes sense for GRCC, because I believe it makes sense for us in our partnership with this county and this community. Access, community embeddedness. That's what it means to me as far as being relevant and responsive to the Lakeshore from our campus institution and how we exist is concerned. So I tell you that I look forward to this presidency of an incredible institution. I am blessed to be a president of a college that is not only seen as a bright spot in our region, but I am blessed to be a part of a college that has so many incredible people that I get to work with and work for. We have people on our campus in Grand Rapids, people out here in the Lakeshore. As you heard from Susie earlier today, we have people who are so focused on the work of GRCC and how we help people get educated and get on with their next. Whether that be a next of a 4-year degree at another institution, or whether that be a next that involves them going into a really good paying job. Because we know our work out here has a lot to do with that as well. When you start talking about 42 companies that we worked with last year in customized training, that's customized training is where we work directly with the company and we give them exactly what they need for their people. That's pretty big. You saw that number on that card that talks about Michigan new jobs to the tune of over $22 million, I believe, just out here on the Lakeshore. GRCC celebrates the fact that we are, as far as community colleges are concerned in the state of Michigan, we are the leader, and not just the leader, we're the leader by far when it comes to new jobs training, funds that help train people in new jobs, put people to work. Put people to work. We are the leader in the state when it comes to Michigan new jobs training. Mary Hostra sitting back there at the back of the room, that's her baby. That's the one. I can't tell you how many times that I'm around people in West Michigan and they know Mary Hostra way better than they know me. Oh, you're the president? Oh, you mean where Mary Hostra works? Yes. Because that's how effective that woman has been for our institution, but that's how effective she's been for West Michigan. We're proud of what we've done in those regards as far as workforce development and workforce training is concerned. And that's a vital piece of what we do, just like how we send people to their next institution. So I'm thrilled to be here today. And I'm thrilled at a really fun week of celebrating. People may think, I've had people talk about, I know you're excited to sell, it may have, I know it has something to do with me, but for me it has a lot to do with this community. West Michigan, GRCC. I just am blessed to be the one who gets to lead it. If there's ever anything I can do for you, ever anything you think about in terms of what is going on out here in Ottawa County, what relevance means to me is when you say, I wonder if GRCC can help us. I want that to be the common thread throughout this community, a common sentence uttered throughout this community. I wonder if GRCC can help us, because that means that we're relevant, and I know we're going to be responsive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Pink. Appreciate your voice here this afternoon. As you see on the program, we have asked 4 other individuals from the community to be a voice this afternoon as well. These are individuals that many of you are very familiar with. And I'll start with Pete Haynes, who Dr. Pink has just mentioned. Pete is superintendent of the Ottawa Intermediate Area School District. Came on board there about 2 years ago, I think. Seems, yeah, something like that, Pete. And so we're so thankful to have Pete and be able to respond from an education voice. So please, come right ahead.
Thanks, Dan. Just to get us started, a quick show of hands. How many in the room would not like to be the guy to follow Susie and Dr. Pink? Nice job. Susie, we're all proud of you. Almost 2 years ago, just about 2 years ago, many of us in this room celebrated a 15-year anniversary of a partnership between GRCC, the Ottawa Area Intermediate School District, and the communities that we serve together. It was a testament to a history of collaborative leadership and to a very giving Ottawa County. Fast forward to today. Today we enjoy rich offerings built on that relationship, that codependence. Together, we're meeting the needs of employers by building a talented workforce and a talent pool that they need. We're shattering historic barriers with programs like the Advanced Manufacturing Early College that you saw featured in the video. Today we welcome Dr. Bill Pink. He's our next visionary partner. And given his demonstrated commitment and experience in talent and workforce development, I am certain our partnership is only going to grow and mature. Welcome, Dr. Pink.
And thank you, Pete. We are very appreciative of your partnership between our two institutions. two other individuals that we've asked to share in terms of community voice and be representative of our businesses and companies in our area. Again, you are very familiar with. Jennifer Owens, who came, I think, around 2013 and became president of Lakeshore Advantage, our economic development agency, and has done such a great work in coming on board as president. And Jane Clark, president of our West Coast Chamber, been a member of the chamber, I think, since the 1990s, and became president of that chamber in early 2000s, I think. So asked if these two ladies would come and share some comments as well. Thank you.
Jane and I are connected at the hip, so we'll tag team. We hadn't planned on it, but we're going to tag team, right, today? Right. I think if you get the message throughout all this is about partnership. So our tag team is not unlike all the other tag teams we have throughout here in the region. It takes a team to grow a strong community, and we are so excited to have Dr. Pink. And we always have the GRC team as part of our team, but we can't wait to work with you.
Again, Bill, congratulations being 10th president of Grand Rapids Community College. Excited to work with you. We can't underestimate how important it is to have a community college serving our market, and especially Grand Rapids Community College. As you mentioned, you're providing opportunities for people that want to pursue that career and technical training, those that want to complete that 2-year degree and maybe go on, and for those that are looking to gain skills and continue and improve in today's workforce. We certainly heard firsthand today the personal attention you provide to your students. We know that your students are getting real world and relevant experience through your faculty, and we're appreciative of that. Our chamber work could not be effective without the work that you do. So we look forward to your leadership. We thank you for your commitment, and I know you'll answer when we call and say, I wonder how GRCC can help us.
But Bill, our work is not done. So as you know, the economy is very strong right now in Ottawa County, lowest unemployment rate in the state, and West Michigan gets all kinds of awards and accolades. But I will tell you that 54% of our existing employers are citing barriers to growth. And of those 54%, 72% have said labor is their barrier. Access to talent, recruiting, developing talent. So we need your team. Now here's a great stat, 59% of those employees will be increasing their investment in training, and that customized training, that support is going to be so helpful for us to continue to grow this economy and maintain this strong prominence. So we can't wait to continue the partnership and keep on moving forward.
Thank you.
That worked out well. You tag teamed that really well. Thank you very much. We have one other individual that we've asked to come and share a little bit with us, and Randy Skipper. Been a part of owning and serving in terms of a law firm for many years here in our community, and asked if he would be that community voice for us, if you will. So, Randy, please.
Thank you. I'm here to thank GRCC for all the opportunities that are currently here and for trying to expand opportunities going forward. It's personal for me. I'm a Grand Rapids Junior College alumnus. I came out of high school in Grand Rapids. I couldn't afford to go to a 4-year college. I could afford to go to junior college, though. And because it was nearby, a short car ride or some days a bus ride away, I was able to still work full-time while taking these classes full-time. Gave me a bridge to my bachelor's degree, then on to my law degree. I don't think I could have done it without that. I know I couldn't have gotten started without it because I couldn't have afforded to go to any other college. And I know too many kids who will go later, and later never comes. Thanks to JC, I didn't have to worry about that. Now, I've served on the West Ottawa Board of Education for a dozen years. It's hard to believe it's been that long, but anyway, in that time period, several times I've been asked to attend meetings talking about expanding community college opportunities in the Holland area. And we were always told we couldn't join. We couldn't join a community college. We couldn't form our own community college. Finally, when we had a meeting on middle college, President Ender explained why. He said, well, you see, you can't join because you don't touch Grand Rapids Community College District. And I can't offer everything to you guys in the Lakeshore we offer in Kent County because you don't pay taxes for community college. You know, that thing about no free lunch. They do tremendous things out here, tremendous opportunities for us. And they help many of our students and many of our even adults. I can't help but wonder how many more are not being helped because of those limitations. Well, once President Ender explained to me why we couldn't join, I actually decided to use my law degree and actually read the statute to figure out why that was. And I saw this contiguity requirement, but I also saw it didn't apply in the Upper Peninsula. Well, if it didn't apply in the Upper Peninsula, it didn't have to apply in the Lower Peninsula. So Representative Price, Representative Janetsky, and I went to meet with Steve at GRCC and asked, would he be willing to support a bill to remove the contiguity requirement? He not only did that, he got the Michigan Association of Community Colleges on board. He testified before the House Education Committee along with me and Kevin Stotts. He went to the Senate Education Committee with Representative Price and me. Without his help, it wouldn't have happened. With his help, we got that law changed. I also serve on the Destination Education Board. It's our local college access network. We see a lot of the data about how many students, first-generation students, students in poverty who are not helped, who don't complete some sort of post-secondary certificate. And I can't be satisfied with our situation when I see that data. But right now, the choice is up to us. We got the contiguity requirement removed. So now we want to get a community conversation going again about joining community college to expand opportunities. And this time, the barrier is gone. This time it's on us. We often blame the legislature, sorry Danielle, for putting politics ahead of our kids and our community. They came through for us in this case. They got the bill through. And now the question is whether it will come through for our kids, whether we in the community will do what it takes to expand opportunities for our kids. So I want to thank GRCC, especially President Ender, although I understand he has better things to do, something about a trip to Italy. And I want to thank President Pink for being eager to see about what can be done to expand opportunities for our communities out here in the Lakeshore. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much to all four of you again for speaking and this afternoon and welcoming our new president. Appreciate that very much. I'm going to ask Bill if he would come forward one more time and give us some closing remarks.
Yes, thank you, Dan. Thank you to all four of you. I think it speaks loudly to how not only we have worked together, but what we need to do going forward. And Jennifer, I'm happy you mentioned some of those stats because when we talk to, this is on the workforce side of things, when we talk to a lot of our partners, not only do we find out what the present situation is in terms of talent needs, but we know what that is becoming here in the next 5 to 10 years. That an aging workforce means even less people in those places. And so out here on the Lakeshore with all the large companies that do really good work out here, manufacturing being one of the main sources, I think it's imperative that we as a community college have some strong efforts of partnership in making sure that we can do all we can. And that kind of partnership doesn't come without strong partnerships with our ISD and with our school districts. And so that is work, friends, that from a community college standpoint as well as a community that we need to engage in and make sure that we can work together to figure out how we cut into that. I'm grateful for what we've been able to do today, and I leave you with this. As far as what I see today in terms of where we are as a community college, and as I think even more about where we are as a nation, I think it's interesting in the days that we are living in right now, as we look across our great nation. It's hard to see a great nation that has so much division among it right now. One thing, any of you don't know me, one thing you'll learn about me is I sometimes just got to share my heart with you, so I'm not going to apologize for that. But it's troubling to me, I'll be honest with you, it's troubling to me to see some of the things that we are looking at today. I've said before to other groups, I sometimes think about my father who passed away, my goodness, back in the mid-90s. I think about him and I think about what he grew up in. He was a World War II veteran. Grew up at a time in this country as an African-American man where, especially an African-American man in his case, that had about a 6th, 7th grade education, but was a really smart man. And I think about him and what he saw in his lifetime in terms of what a country looked and sounded like, especially toward him and people who looked like him. And I think about how here we are some 30 years later after his passing. And I think about if he were to walk in that door right now, here in 2017. And I think he would, he'd probably look at what our present situation is. I think he would probably ask me, son, you mean you're still dealing with that stuff? You're still dealing with that? As a country, you're still dealing with that? I think he'd be a little surprised. Because I'd have to tell him, yeah, we are. Yes, we are. But that's also a reason why I think our work is so important. I think that is one of the reasons why the education and the opportunity that a Grand Rapids Community College and a community partnered, I think that is why our work is so important. It's important from a needs of talent, but I think our work together is vitally important to doing all we can to try to unite a country again. And if we can't do it to the country, to make sure we can do it to our region, to our neighborhoods, to our communities, for each other. Because if we're not doing it, and no one coming in that door wanted to do it for us. That's up to us, friends. That's up to us. And that is work that I hope you are as focused on as I am. Because while my window is open, that window being president of this great institution, while my window is open, I want to work my butt off to do all we can to get rid of some of this stuff. And I hope that you come along with me. I think there are still some snacks back there and some drink. Please don't feel like you have to leave. I'm glad you held that up. You guys see this card on your table. Thank you, Vicki. You guys see this card on your table. This card is important to us because as an institution, we are now embarking upon renewing and reconditioning, if you will, and renovation of our strategic plan. We're taking a strategic plan and now as a new president and as new leadership in place, taking a strong look at what our strategic goals are as an institution, and we're moving in our next level of strategic planning as an institution. If you can help us out, we would love it, because you see on this card a website on there that is a web address. If you go there, it's a survey. It takes about 5 minutes. Honestly, it only takes about 5 minutes. It's a short survey. Your information that you provide us will help us as we start crafting this new direction for Grand Rapids Community College as far as our strategic plan is concerned. It's important information for us. We're gathering data from our people on campus as well as our community at large. So your voice on this is important. So if you would, at some point in the next few days, please take this card with you so you know what the address is. Go out there and fill that information out. We need to have this information, especially from not only what we get in Kent County, we need to have this information coming out of Ottawa County as well, because our family is in Ottawa as well as Kent, our GRCC family. We're in both places, so you have to have a voice. So please go out and make sure that you fill out that information. It will help us tremendously. Thank you so much for being here today. Enjoy each other's company. Enjoy the food. I appreciate you. Go Raiders. Thank you very much.